According to a recent bulletin by the Transit Union, there are rapists, violent predators, and deranged people riding on the buses in King County and Seattle. Let's find out more details. Thank you for watching. My name is Glen Morgan, and this is We the Governed. And as always, we're going to be talking about another story that really strikes at the heart of what it's like to live in an urban environment like Seattle and King County. Specifically, I'm going to talk about the public transit and the buses. Now, if you grew up like I did in the greater Seattle area, I used to take buses into Seattle before I had a driver's license many times. It was not uncommon, or take them down to South Center or up to SeaTac, or up to SeaTac Airport even. And I remember riding the buses all the time, and every now and then you would have some problems there. But it was generally a pretty safe and relatively clean environment that you could, and a relatively safe way to get around. And that doesn't appear to be the case anymore, and this is really based on what the drivers who drive these buses actually have to say about what they are seeing every day. And this very specifically comes out of a recent January 20th, 2022 bulletin that the Amalgamated Transit Union put out to all of their drivers. And in this bulletin, they very specifically were attacking Constantine, who's the current Democrat King County executive for the whole King County. I mean, this is the guy who's supposed to be in charge of a lot of these issues. And they're very upset about the fact that he absolutely refuses at every opportunity to address the escalating crime problem, not just in the greater Seattle area, but also on the buses specifically. And this is where the quote comes from, is actually from this bulletin that just came out a couple days ago, saying specifically that there are rapists, violent predators, and deranged people riding on these buses. It's a danger to the drivers, which is what the union's focused on, but also to the riders, quite obviously. And what's happening is they have what they call non-destinational riders, people who have no destination, but they've decided that they're going to get on the bus, use it as an opportunity to dump garbage, to shoot up with their drugs, to puke and do all kinds of other things that are pretty unsightly and unenjoyable for the other people that are actually trying to use the bus as an actual transit process to get from their home to work, presumably. Or like when I was a kid, trying to ride it just to go visit Seattle. That's a risky endeavor right now, judging from the volume of problems that are being reported by the drivers union, and even sometimes in the news when you're reading about these horrible assaults and attacks that are going on all over the Seattle area because of these homeless drug addicts and criminals and deranged people. And I mean, just quoting, this quote itself kind of speaks for what the problem really is here. And this is really becoming a significant issue. You can read stories about it all the time. Issues that are coming up where metro transit operators are concerned about this open fentanyl use on the buses, which doesn't end up in a good situation. And obviously, even when they install these cameras, you can now capture and see on the video cameras, the video footage they get from inside the buses, the violence that are directed against the drivers and oftentimes against passengers as well. And just other horrible stories, women hitting children, spitting on the school bus driver, stealing the keys. The police are intervening, and this is a school bus story, but it's all about the mass transit issues and the fact that these buses, Metro, King County Metro, and Seattle, these are just not safe places to be. There's bus stations downtown where nobody can even wait because the stations have actually been taken over by drug dealers and homeless. And unfortunately, we have a very weak leadership right now in Washington State, starting at the governor's position, Governor Inslee, and going all the way down to King County Executive Constantine, who absolutely are not serious about trying to solve this problem. They seem to be more than happy to allow and encourage the escalating crime wave and just decline of living standards all across the greater Puget Sound area, and particularly in Seattle, but particularly in this mass transit situation. Keep in mind, these guys are very big proponents of mass transit. They want you to get out of your cars. They want you to take these buses. They want you to take the light rail. And yet, what we find when we get there is that nobody's enforcing any fare collection. Nobody's really enforcing any rules of code and conduct on the buses. And so they've become pretty miserable places to go. So with this in mind, I think it's really worth just noting that it's not just you and I and other people who care about freedom and liberty. It's even the people that are running the unions who have historically endorsed these guys, who are recognizing that the political environment and the social environments being created by terrible public policy is resulting in a situation that no normal person would find acceptable. But then again, these guys are not normal people, and they're the ones who could make decisions to make a difference, and they don't seem to care. So if you want to learn more, I've linked a bunch of these stories down below in the video description. You can also go to wethegovern.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our free newsletter there. If you want to support us in our future efforts, please feel free to do that as well. But remember, the future belongs to those who show up, and we really have to show up if we want to stop having more stories like this.